Good morning, Mean Body Academy members. I think I'm right on time. It's 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and I want to welcome you to today's Monday morning coaching call. If you're watching this live, outstanding. You can type in a comment or a question, and I'll do my best to answer it on this call. You can always follow up on the contact page and send me a direct message or even a video message inside the Facebook group. I love video messages because I watch them. Before I begin the call, I want to give a few shouts to Demi, who's come back really strong. She just posted a video. She had a kidney stone issue and some other issues. I mean, the lady is totally transforming her life in less than 4 or 5 months. So very impressive. Amy, who's doing a phenomenal. Hey, Christy. Amy's doing some phenomenal stuff. The only way that I know where you guys are at is to post. I like videos inside the group because it gets me to connect with you. For some of you, it's going to break you out of your shell, but trust me, hey, Galen, I am a devout introvert. I would not be doing these periscopes or these coaching calls live if I, hey, Lucretia, if I didn't think it made a difference in people's lives. So believe me, if you have a line of introverts, I'm at the front of that line, okay? But I'm going to welcome all you today to the call today. Wow, people are really coming in. So today's call is going to be on 3 keys to creating balance. And a lot of you know that it's difficult to create balance. You get going in the academy, something comes up. You get going in your business, something comes up. You get going in your social life, something comes up. And how do you balance those? Hey, Cheryl, Galen. It's difficult. It is not easy to do. So what I like to do is reference, I know you guys are going to laugh, reference what the peer-reviewed research has to say. I use that in everything. So I go to PubMed and they have from obviously American Psychology Journal, the role of positive emotions in positive psychology. And what basically they're saying in this very dry research report is there's 3 keys that we should really focus on. Number 1 is focus on the important things: your health, your family, and what you do, what you're into. If you're working, if you're retired, if you have something that moves you, focus on those. All the other things will kind of fall out of your top tiers. And I think where people get into trouble is that they let a lot of outside influences that really, in the scheme of things, don't really matter, but we put them at the top of the list and they begin to dilute our goals and our aspirations. And that's what disrupts, according to research, and it makes perfect sense, the positive psychology that goes on within the brain. In Periscope, when I broadcast, even now in my blogs, you talk about things so much different than working out or eating, and you have this Lean Body Academy. Well, a lot of people have a reasonable knowledge, about what they're doing wrong or right. But the problem is our brains and emotions get in the way of that. And when that happens, it disrupts our ability to execute. So I've realized some time ago that, hey, unless we begin to sort the neurodynamics of what's happening up here in the brain, we're really not going to get benefit, not only in our health, but our health is going to begin to come 4th, 5th, or 6th on the list. A lot of you that are in the academy for even a short period of time realize how much you let your health get out of hand. Thank you, Julie. And it's the last thing you want is someone with a whip and a chair saying, okay, you need to do this, and you walk away feeling kind of deflated because no one is really addressing the root cause of why we allowed things to get out of control. It's like going to your doctor and you're 50 pounds overweight or whatever, and you say, I can't believe I allowed this to happen. Thank you. So you see, so that's why I spend a lot of time on this, so we can sort out what's happening up in our brain, and then the, what to eat, what not to eat, the timing, all that's figured out. That's not going to change, guys. Trust me. Not anytime soon. Maybe in 10,000 years, our genetics will adjust a little bit. But those principles are rock solid. What needs to change, and again, a lot of this research, this one's rather new, this is 2001, but a lot of this stuff has been out there since, I wish I was a lot of it's been out for a long time. But the key is how do we make sense of it? And that's my goal for you guys, is to make sense of all this rhetoric. And I'm going to go back and review some of those questions, but let me get through these 3 keys. So number 1, focus on what's important to you. You're in the Lean Body Academy because you realize your health is important. Everything else is going to fade away. If you don't believe that, if you haven't had a major event, ask Demi, ask Amy. These people that have, seen some real drastic things happen in their health, and now their family becomes important. Well, let's get that curtailed in the short term, in the immediate. So focus on the 3 keys in your life. Number 2, if you're transitioning, flow through your transition and look for the good in it. Several people in the academy are going through some changes, either changes in jobs or changing in location, and we have to flow through that. We have to find the good in that. I may be going through a transition here soon as well. So it's a transition. It doesn't necessarily have to be a negative. And the third thing is, and this is interesting, what research has to say about these 2 things. There's joy, like you're really happy, and then there's being content. And in between that is kind of like a letdown. Have you ever been joyful and then you've been let down, and been joyful and been let down? That's really exhausting. And that's probably, at least for me anyway, the most difficult thing to apply balance to. How do we become super joyful at an event, like a child? They become joyful at something without that huge lull between contentment. And again, these are all things that play a role up here, and these will determine what you put in your mouth and how you perceive, walking, or how you conduct yourself socially. That contributes to your health going in this direction or your health going in that direction. And a lot of you here, I think you're at least the new members, and you guys can put up a 1 if I'm accurate, are getting more than you bargained for, and may not like some of it, because you begin to reflect on it and you're like, oh, that is affecting me. I'm used to every hour. So that's really important. So now let me go back. Let me scroll back through here and look for some questions. Let me go back. Here we go. Okay, good morning, everybody. I think you hit the nail on the head with this one. Yeah, I'm glad. Demi, good comment. Well, Demi, you'll notice, and a lot of you that are bloated, your weight may not be changing, but I guarantee you your body composition is changing from the inside out. I think it was Tom that said it the best. He said, my weight's not changing, but man, my clothes and my dynamics are changing. So again, this is more for you new members. You more mature members have been with me a few months, may have already gotten this, but forget about this weight loss business. That scale is a bad denominator of how you're doing. Go by how you're feeling, your lab work, how you look in your clothes. Demi's a pretty cool example of that. Julie says, exactly how I've been feeling, beating myself up about how I got here. Yeah, but it's not going to serve you. So the question I always ask is, Jennifer Quinn, a really big interviewer, said something. We got in a little bit of a discussion, and she says, "Oh, I'm a foodie. I really love it. How do I do this and that?" And I said, "Well, just look at it from a position of how's it serving you? Is that serving my best interests?" And it's not a judgment call on my part. I don't want to get involved in that. Is it serving me? Yes or no? Okay. Now you have a definitive answer. Then now you're in a position to make some cerebral judgments. You see, we have to look at these things very prosaic and okay, what's the best way to move in this direction? What's helping me and what's hurting me? We don't get involved in the good and the bad and the devil on this shoulder and the angel on the right shoulder. That's an analogy. It's not going to give us any power because it keeps us in the mystical. Whereas, okay, is this serving me? Okay, it's not serving. Okay, how can I adjust that? Now you've got some cerebral traction. You can begin to move past that. So great. I like Julie, and for you to kind of, and you're doing it excellent. Say exactly what's going on in your mind, and now you're halfway to resolving that. Demi says, let's let it go. It's tough for some people to let things go, but go back to the same thing, like Demi mentions here. How is it serving? I went to that wake, or I don't know what they call it in that type of situation last night, and it rocked me, which I didn't think it would. But I'm okay today. So you have to let certain things go. Doesn't mean you care any less. It just means you can move on. Okay. Miss Robbins here, Linda. Why isn't the fat monitor moving in a year? Linda says. Well, Linda, there's a lot of things going on with you. I don't know if it's fair to me to talk about it here. If I can talk about you in here, put up a yes, and I will. Everyone, it's been emotionally tough because I got married by the church, but my father and mother Thank you. Some people have. That's a tough one. How do you deal with that when your siblings don't want to participate in your marriage? So they don't want to participate. Okay, but that shouldn't affect. I guess the point I'm trying to make is, it's not about you. It's about them. They've lost the ability somewhere to dissect out, hey, look, this is my sister. She happens to go there. I mean, if I got invited to a wedding in a submarine, I wouldn't go, not because I'm agnostic or anything like that. I just don't want to be underwater in a submarine. So it has totally nothing to do with the venue. It has to do with, where I'm at. Do you see the difference? So I've been to several different types of weddings. Some were totally like agnostic, some were totally over the top. I'm there for the participation of the person. So obviously those people haven't gotten past that stigma. It's not about you. Okay, Linda says I can talk about you in a positive way. Well, Linda was on a lot of drugs for a lot of years, and whenever we're taking medications for that long, our bodies have to adapt to how they're altering us physiologically. And again, I'm not here to make a judgment call whether that's good or bad. That's just the unfortunate physiological reality that we're forced to accept. We have many members in the academy that are on 4 or 5 different medications, and the questions they always ask me on the sidebar is, when can I stop taking them? The goal is you can stop taking them when they no longer are serving your symptoms, because your health has improved. Now, in Linda's case, there could be several reasons. If you're still on major medications, the body will tend to want to hold fluid and hold water. It could totally augment your metabolic systems. The key is, are your blood work getting better? Are you feeling better? Are you working with a doctor that may find it reasonable to remove or adjust certain medications? These are the questions to ask. Thank you so much. So that's what I would say, Linda. Medication. In fact, when I was at that service last night, there was a little boy there. He was skinny as a rail, and I knew his parents. And I said, "Your son really lost weight." Oh, he was on. He's off his medication now. I mean, he didn't look like the same little boy. I think he's 12 years old or 10 years old. He must have lost 20, 25 pounds. So he was on it for a few years, I would imagine. Just imagine being on it a couple decades. Demi say, make you happy. We are number one, and when we learn that's when we can take care of ourselves and everyone else. There you go. And these are all, and Demi says these are all mindset issues, Demi, and she's totally getting it now. Anna says people are amazed at how I look. That's the whole, the whole goal here is to make it work up here. It's kind of like, did you ever go through something and you say, I get that now? It totally changes things. Or if you're working through a job or a project and you get like a little thing that you haven't got before, it's almost like all the other things kind of fall away. This is no different. Hey, Cindy, this concept of the Lean Body Academy and your members area, your participation, it doesn't have to be hours a day. It could be 15 minutes a day. What was the statistics? People spend about 4 hours a day on social media. I'm just asking for 15 minutes. Yeah. See, Linda, in your case, and when long-term medications are involved, it always throws kind of like a kibosh in how things should happen, because different medications are going to have different effects. If you're on corticosteroids, it's going to have a different effect. If you're on neurological inhibitors, it's going to have a different effect. So keep applying the principles. I see you've been with me for a long time. Your body has totally changed. You certainly look younger. Um, hey, Rodney's here. So yeah, don't get fixated on the little things. So let me go through the three keys to creating balance. These are important, and we tend to, when we go through disharmony in our life, I think we need to step back and look at those. So focus on things that are important. Your health, your family, and what you do, whether you're retired and you have hobbies or your work. You have to have a balance. And I could just work all the time, and that's not good for my daughter and my wife. It didn't happen until later, Dr. G. I was very upset with you in the beginning. I would take things personally. So, yeah, there you go. So that's usually what happens when we become I'll give you an example. My daughter is very gregarious. When we get in a crowd, she gets very quiet. And I said, why do you do that? She goes, oh, well, I'm embarrassed. And what she's getting from that is it's all about her. Everyone's looking at her is what I'm getting. So I think when we take things personal, we have the assumption that everyone is looking at us, and it's not. And for those of you who don't know, I had a lady cancel the academy because I said something on Periscope that it resonated with her so much that she thought I was talking about her directly. And I think Debbie may have felt that. I think Amy may have felt that for some time. And I think that's never the case. But for some reason, we get in this fixated mindset that we're kind of not balanced correctly in certain ways socially. And that's about me. That's about me. And it's really not. Good morning. It's a reflection of them. I would say so, but I think we have to realize that when it's not about us. Life Without the Lean Body Academy and my Life Without Diabetes book. It's not about me. It's about how many people can I help. If I need to get up in front of a church and speak to 500 people, am I comfortable doing it? No, but the subject matter is so important. I have to get out from in front of myself. That's when you have something that moves you so much. You leave that stuff behind. Would I like to get up and talk about me? No, I wouldn't. I feel uncomfortable doing that. Would I get up and talk in front of Periscope or my Lean Body Academy members about how to improve and get past sticking points? Absolutely. It's like the story about the guy that cut you off on the road. He didn't even know he was doing it, or he wasn't doing it to you personally. I end my broadcast with those now because it's a different mindset. Thank you. Total different mindset, and I got that driving with my mother and my sister. Someone cut me off, and you would think they were gonna. And my mother's sweet, and my sister, she's sweet. She's super educated, but she's sweet. And you would think they would, that person's a jerk. I can't believe they did that. And I said, do you know that person? And they're like, no. I said, well, how do you know they're a jerk? You see? And they looked at me like astounded, and they were kind of a little bit perturbed with me. I'm like, you know what? I think he just made a mistake. He just happened to do it right in front of me. And you know what? I'm going to cut him some slack because I got to tell you, my driving isn't always 100%. So these are the little things that I can tell you that disrupted them for a time, that event. And I'm thinking, wow, that little event disrupted them. What if something major happened? They would be disrupted. So we can't allow that. When I see, Demi and Amy totally transforming not who they are, but who they should be from where they were because of all the negative influences. The things like body fat plays a role. A lot of you guys know I talk about this a lot. If you're over 25% body fat, you women, that body fat is actually influencing what's called hormone expression. If you're a man, you're over 23%, it's influencing your hormone expression, but it's also influencing what they call man boobs or chest fat. Not gynecomastia, that's a hormone issue. So all these things play a role. How do you truly help me cope when I find I'm not taking things too personal? Thank you. Thank you. And we cannot take personal. And again, go back to the same element. How is it serving you to do that? I don't think I'm that, it's funny. We have an apartment in the window, and I like to leave it up, but my wife will say, oh, close it, people can see from the street. And I'm like, you know what? I don't really think they care to look at me when I'm sitting at my desk or whatever. So That's just my take on things. I'm not that big on myself. Not that people are big on themselves when they take things personal, but there is an emotional dynamic there that's not serving them. And that's what I want to help people get past. And it's amazing, some early members who knew a lot were in the worst health. Now, one would think their balance must be off. What's happening with that? And I can remember, several instances where I'm sitting in my office with patients and there were two experts on health in the room and I wasn't one of them. You see, they were the experts, but they were in really bad shape. You're going to laugh, but I do believe body fat influences your. I'm not going to laugh. The research is definitely supporting that, or I wouldn't. You guys have to realize that when I say these things, and especially like a venue like a Periscope or a blog or something, I'm putting it out there. If it was inaccurate, it could easily be discredited. But you notice no one can really negatively comment because it's in the research. Thank you. Yeah, it has to go beyond that, Linda. It just has to. It just has to. It kind of boggles my mind sometimes when I see a real expensive car like a Ferrari or a Porsche, and they're in the fast food lane at McDonald's. That just boggles the mind. But I do it with a smile. Or if I'm in a fresh pressed juice place, or what I call a hippie restaurant where they're serving vegan and raw things, which is so yummy, and I go there occasionally, and sometimes I'm there in a suit and tie because I've just taught class or I've done something, and everyone else is in dreadlocks and tie-dyed shorts, and I'm the only one there like that. So kind of like, why, am I the only one that knows the benefits of this stuff? Maybe so. Having the knowledge and knowing what to do. Let me read that comment. Having the knowledge and knowing what to do and not being in great health is mentally taxing for sure. Yeah, and we have to come to grips when is enough enough. I mean, unfortunately or fortunately, depending on your point of view. Glad you're here, Jeff. As we get older, we can tolerate less. I mean, I'm 53. There's no way I could tolerate eating bad consistently. Like I had a couple tacos with my daughter the other day at a taco stand that's really yummy, but I know it's not the healthiest ingredients. Could I do that perpetually? No, I couldn't. So again, we just have to take stock in where we're at and not so much look at ourselves, look at the people who rely on us. I mean, I was just at, like I said, that funeral last night, and this lady was loved by so many people. Teaching my son, let me see, I'm teaching the exact thing, which is helping him cope with bullying. So I believe me, that has helped me, whole family. My husband is still not getting it, but I continue to try and get him to. That's awesome. For those of you that do have family members that aren't in the academy or don't participate, I can tell you just by my own personal experiences, I think Gandhi said it best, just be the change that you want to see. Especially if you're old school, like some of my family is, they don't really go by this, they go by these. They judge with their eyes, not with what you say. And that's so powerful. And, I've been consistent for as long as I can remember. And is it paying dividends? Yeah, at 53, after going to this place and seeing people around my wife's age, because that was the venue that we were at, some of them are in pretty bad shape, and they're, in their early 40s. So that's just me. I'm not judging them. I'm just looking at, this person might have heart. I'm looking at their eyes. This person may have kidney issues. That's just how my mind works. Those foods are the worst thing. Yeah, it can be tough when you're with a spouse or a significant other that's not supportive. How do you get past that? Double your resolve. I mean, when I'm in a situation like that, I go way over the other side. And I've been in situations like that, especially when I travel. I'm super disciplined like that because I realize it's a slippery slope. I think Jeff, who's on here, said it best. And please, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong. I think he said, one is too many and 1,000 is never enough. It's not that I'm against that. It has addictive qualities to it. I mean, I can't just get a bag of chips. I'll eat the whole bag in one sitting. So I know that these are my triggers, my weaknesses. So I can either let those overwhelm me, or I can say, you know what, I'm just not going to participate and have those things quite that often. So again, it gets totally away from this right or wrong. It's strictly prosaic. It deals with, okay, what's serving me and what isn't, and then move past it. Before long, that balance, or that creative balance activity, becomes more and more prolific through your life, and that's the whole goal. Again, there's no, especially for you new members, there's no hard and fast, I'm gonna listen to this coaching call and everything is going to be 100%. Hey Donna, it's well, thank you for the Facebook post, by the way. That's very kind of you to say the words that you said about me. Forget about this hard and fast, I'm gonna do everything 1,000% from day one. You're setting yourself up for failure. What I've said before, in order to be balanced, pick the one thing that that's the most destructive. Yeah, one is too many, 1,000 is not enough. It's used in 12-step movement. I would agree with that. That's reasonable to me. And at my work, there's donuts every day. There's cakes every day. Well, I'm only there 2.5 days a week, but every time I'm there's a box, and I'm always asked, "Hey Doc, there's donuts in the back. Hey, thanks a lot. I appreciate that." Do you see? But it's not like, oh, they're trying to say, they're trying to sabotage me. They could care less. But they're what? They're being cordial and kind. That's their way of being cordial and kind. Okay, fine. So I'm cordial and kind way back. I just don't participate. Is it, do I get into, oh, that's bad or that's wrong or that? They may say something like, oh, Dr. George would never eat that. I said, guys, I would consume that whole box. That's the problem. And they laugh and I lighten it up. But once you start getting into dictatorial, oh, it has sugar in it, I did that probably 15 years ago, and in my opinion, it's the bad way to go because people know that. But when you say I would eat the whole box, which I'm being perfectly honest, it's like, wow, he would really eat the whole box. Absolutely, I would. But it's not going to what? It's not going to serve me. Yeah, but they're not. Yeah, and they're not sabotaging us. They're just, maybe subconsciously you have to understand, especially for you people that have a lot of unhealthy friends. Let me plug in my phone really quick. If you have a lot of unhealthy friends and you're making changes, if you're making changes in your life, subconsciously, there's the old sayings, birds of a feather flock together. They don't want to see you leave that nest. So subconsciously, it's like, oh, just have one. Oh, just have this. And, that comes down to choice. And if you're disciplined enough, that's fine. I'm so happy because I didn't eat the bad foods because I ordered healthy dishes from a Greek restaurant to the wedding. Congratulations, by the way, Anna. You've come a long way. And again, if I could give you guys any, Lean Body Academy member advice here, beyond the 3 keys to creating balance, is just realize up here what the neural dynamics of what's happening. Okay, and then see if it's serving you or not. Don't get involved in, oh, that's wrong for you or that's bad for you. To me, that's so, it's so archaic and old and just stale information. Okay, I mean, that's a given. You've got to be a real, back ways person not to realize that stuff. Okay, we know that, but it's all about, okay, is that going to serve me or not? And if you can say, oh, I'll do that. Okay, then that's fine. It's a conscious choice, not a subconscious action. You see the difference? I'm starving between the ears. Sometimes I think I am too. Greek food I could have cooked for you. That's right. That's right. And another thing, there's a lot of different races in the academy all over the globe. And, the whole goal that I'm always keeping in the back of my mind is that you guys can apply. I feel I've done my job if you can apply these principles to your local dishes. The funny thing is that many people who never ate healthy ended up eating the entire healthy Greek food. That's right. Because people have the connotation of what? It's healthy, so it must taste bad, right? That's why, especially you new members, don't even bring that word up. Oh, we're going to use these, if you have my book or something. Oh, we're going to use these healthy recipes. Don't say it. Don't say it. Just don't be judgmental. People don't respond to that. Yeah, pointless. You can be right or you can help someone. When I'm putting things in the academy and doing broadcasts like this and doing my coaching calls, that's the foremost on my mind. How can I help folks? I can be right all day long, but who wants to hear that? ourselves. Either we do stuff wrong and then people being judgmental about me. Yeah, no one does. Thank you, Linda. No one likes to be wronged. That's why when you're creating balance and you're doing things, the best way to interact with someone is to say, this is my understanding of what you said. And then you repeat what you think that they said. And then now what you said was, this is what I heard. It doesn't mean that it's right. I'm going to go over this in greater detail tonight on tonight's broadcast. But this is a dynamic point. So you hear people all the time saying, oh, you put words in my mouth, and it creates a negative discourse and your balance is all thrown off. See? Thank you, Linda. Thank you, Debbie. It's outstanding. And when I can help you guys to make those distinctions up here, it'll lower your stress level, it'll improve your communication level. And people say, oh, you're a life coach. That word is it's so broad. It's so broad to me, but you have to take certain neural emotional dynamics into account, because we're not just, eat, sleep, work beings. We're emotional beings. Yeah, don't use it. Trust me, it's a mistake. It's a mistake. I had to coach my mother-in-law on that for years, Oh, I'm having a party today. We're having all these healthy dishes. I'm like, Mom, don't say it. Let people taste it. Their tongue is because they're all gonna have free. They did an interesting study where they set up the same desserts on a table and they walked people down, and they had to sign healthy and they had to sign a tasty. And it was like 90% of the people walked down the tasty line, even though they were the exact same desserts. Interesting, right? So what we say and what we read creates an influence. Advertisers know that. So be careful with that. And this will save you guys a lot of grief. You had a family member block me a few months ago. Their loss, I don't know why you would just block someone. Just unfollow them or something, But understand this: when you first get started in something, your excitement is high, so you could become to them overzealous and disrupt their balance. And then if you're making them wrong in their mind, they don't want to see that. Be with your small dentist first. You don't like the looks of it or smell of it, you won't try it. Or you think it's healthy, you won't try it either, Julia. She thought I was writing about her personally, but I wasn't. It was generally. I've lost a couple Academy members from it. I don't know if I've been blocked before, but I've had a bad Yelp review. And it's amazing how people's neural emotional dynamics play a role in how they think society is. To me, I'm like, who in the world would be concerned about me personally? Maybe they're concerned and they like the work that I do, but me personally, there's just a handful of people. My family here in Lean Body Academy, my Life Without Diabetes people, and my wife, daughter, and that close family. I can't wait to reach my goal. Your book is awesome. Thank you so much. Yeah, and there's nothing we really can do about that. But it bothered me. It bothered me that she thought I was talking about her. That's why I always ask you when you guys come in these members platforms, hey, if you tell me something, is it okay that I talk about that? Then I'll talk about you specifically based on your condition, not you personally. No, some people, would you call it paranoid? I don't know if I would use the word paranoid, but I guess it's accurate. My labs improved. Yeah, labs will happen first, body happens second. Remember, the body could care less about your cosmetic features. Oh, they'll improve, but it's making internal dynamic changes to save your life first. How could anyone be offended by you? Sometimes I think I touch home with people. and I make them see a side that they don't want to see, but you have to recognize these things, in my opinion, in order to get past them. And some people just don't want to see that side. You know, the people that, oh geez, they're really large and their focus is on their nails and their hair and their makeup, which is great, but they're failing to see, hey, look, this is really going to destroy your health over time. Some people don't want to see that. Thank you. The funny thing is, some of the Greek wraps has lentils and people thought it was a type of meat. See? That's what I mean. Oh, thank you, Linda. Well, I love you guys. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have the Lean Body Academy, wouldn't be here. I want to thank you guys for all your referrals, and I'm going to find a way to compensate you with memberships or something. I'm working on that right now. What else did I want to add? Any of this creative balance? Dr. G is very straightforward, and sometimes it won't. Yeah, Demi was upset at me. Amy was upset at me. I don't know if they hated me, but I was shining a mirror, and some people don't want to see that mirror. They don't want to see what's there. They want to see what. Remember that old brain. And I'll probably have to do another broadcast, Periscope broadcast on that. You know, you guys get Periscope broadcast, but in the Academy, you guys get the meat, the boiled down version of it. That's where I kind of refine how I'm going to approach the LBA. Thank you. So we have to get past ourselves. So I did one broadcast where it was titled, I think, We See What We Want to Believe. So we want to believe certain things are true. How many of us have bought a gadget or a gizmo and it didn't work, or a program, it didn't work the way that we hoped it would, but since we spent our time, energy, and effort, we kept at it until eventually a friend or someone told us, oh, that's not working. And you're like, oh, what do you mean that's not working? You're crazy. And now you deflect your disappointment with the product to that person who pointed it out to you. And my wife does it a lot with me, and I don't like it for like 30 seconds, but then I get it. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Yeah, because you want, especially if you invested time. And it's hard to look at that objectively. And sometimes I point that out, and I think that the one lady, I think I began to focus on calorie counting or something, and she thought I was talking about her, and obviously she'd invested a lot of time and effort into probably a calorie counting type of a national program. And I told her, hey, it's going to get you to drop weight, but is it going to improve your labs and drop your body fat or something like that? And anyway, she just took it personal, and she was really offended. So, oh, thank you, Donna. That's very kind of you. Lucretia's here. Hey, there's nothing more strange than with no question. Never hate, just did not like it. But then I started to look deeper into myself and inner feelings. Yeah, you did not like it. And unfortunately, you have to tear that skin off of us, I think, personally, in my humble opinion, before you can even get into the inner workings of what we're doing to self-loathe. Because a lot of you know, I was sexually molested at 8 years old by my housekeeper, and that affected me probably until my early 30s, until I went and got some mentoring on it and realized, I was an 8-year-old boy. It wasn't a 30-something-year-old man. How do you shake us and make us really ourselves and face our reality? Oh, thank you, Anna. That's fine, Lucretia. So I hope that creative balance, we kind of we didn't really go off topic. We kind of got a little deeper into that. And I just want you new members to know that don't be shocked. We have to get into what's causing you to make these choices. Remember, the study from Yale University said that 45% of the things that we do are pure habits. There is no rhyme or reason. So sometimes you'll hear people on my broadcast, oh, I'm addicted to this. I've always done that. Okay, but it's still a habit that there's no rhyme or reason for. We have to tell that's right. So many layers have been peeled away. I can't want to see what she revealed. Demi, you're a different person than when I first met you. You look better, you look younger, different emotional dynamic, and I'm sure your friends and family are seeing the difference. But you've done it. I've just, created a path for you, but you have to walk that path. And sometimes it's not, it's not easy, but anything that's worthwhile takes a little bit of effort. My goal is to take the guesswork out of it, because we all hate to go somewhere and be guessing. There's no guessing here. Can we add my friends Yvette Inorganic? Can we add my friends Yvette Inorganic the group, please? Yvette Inorganic. I'm not following that. Yeah, the Facebook group is only for Lean Body Academy members, so she can join the academy and she'll automatically be in the group. This is just for people who are participating in the Lean Body Academy. I get asked that a lot, by the way. Bye, Linda. Yeah. Okay, you guys are probably tired of me by now. Let me just see if I covered what I wanted to cover. Yes, I pulled a lot of this information from the role of positive emotions in positive psychology. This is from American Psychology manuscript, 2011, June 24th. And they talked a lot about, creating a balance and how to do that effectively. Hey, there's Diane. So I'll review those one more time, and then I'll have to end the call. Creating balance. Focus on the important things: your family, your health, your work. Family and health needs to be kind of back and forth. Those three are the key. Everything else is kind of like superfluous data. Thank you, Linda. Number 2, you're going to have transitions in your life. Find a way to flow through them. Don't make them hard and fast negative. Okay? I agree with that. We have to be uncomfortable. I remember an old professor of mine told me, be comfortable being uncomfortable and you'll go far in your life. I never forgot that.